want to reverse the brain drain, if we want to improve our own conditions of life here in Jamaica that will retain our sons and daughters for national development here, then we need to embark upon this labor reform process.
Yes, labor market reform is vital to Jamaica's prospects. And in today's Jamaica magazine, we'll show you the connection to productivity and growth. Welcome to the program. I'm Oroya Eubanks. In the next half hour, you'll get the facts on the soon-to-be introduced flexi-work arrangements. We'll also hear your views on the subject. What kind of impact do you think flexi-work time will have on the country's productivity levels? We get the ball rolling with a stop at the news desk.
Householders, business people, school administrators, protect yourself and your children from the chikungunya virus. Be on the alert. Help control the mosquito population. Chikungunya is a virus transmitted by the Aedes aegypti mosquito, which breeds in and around your home, workplace, and school. Destroy breeding sites. Empty old tires and all other containers where water can settle. Bore holes in old cans. Cover water drums and garbage cans. Wash flower pots and vases and clean pet dishes regularly. Protect yourself from mosquito bites. Cover your body as much as possible and use mosquito repellent containing DEET. And if you're experiencing symptoms of chikungunya, a sudden high fever, headache, rash, nausea, pain, stiffness, or severe joint pains, see your doctor or go to the nearest health center.
Good day, I'm Stacey Ann Smith, and this is your JIS News for Tuesday, September 30. Health Minister Dr. Fenton Ferguson is assuring the nation that persons can only get the chikungunya virus once. In a national broadcast on Sunday, he however cautioned that cases were likely to spike over the next several months and then trend down as persons begin to build immunity to the new virus. Dr. Ferguson, meanwhile, assured that health officials continue to investigate, monitor, and deal with all the types of viruses that were currently circulating.
We are aware of the impact this is having on productivity and attendance at school and work, and ask employers to be compassionate and assist their staff through this difficult period. We expect that the health workforce will also be impacted, and so we are putting in place an emergency response plan to ensure that we can continue to provide care to the population.
While urging persons to destroy mosquito breeding sites, the health minister reminded that the Aedes aegypti mosquito also spreads dengue fever, which he said was more serious than chikungunya.
The death rate from CHIKV is less than 1% compared to dengue, which is 1 to 5%, and influenza, which kills millions each year.
In 2012, the country recorded a total of 5,929 suspected dengue cases, while in 2013 there were 925 cases. The United States Department of Agriculture, USDA, has cleared the way for the export of Jamaican mangoes to the U.S. starting October 20. A release from the Agriculture Ministry said this is subject to Jamaica's compliance with standards required by the USDA's Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service. Acting Minister of Agriculture and Fisheries, Derek Kelly, welcomed the development and said the ministry is working with farmers to meet the export requirements. The mangoes have to be treated by irradiation or hot water immersion, and the process must adhere to a range of precautionary measures. Mango will now become one of 53 agricultural produce on the USDA APHIS pre-clearance list for importation into the USA from Jamaica. Mango season starts December 2014. The Students' Loan Bureau has been given $4.6 billion to meet the demand of persons who applied for loans to finance their tertiary education this academic year. Education Minister Reverend Ronald Swade says the amount should meet the needs of the more than 14,000 SLB applicants.
Because of the availability of funds, the Bureau is extending its loan application period. So students may go to who have already matriculated but not made the satisfactory arrangements, may go to the Bureau and they will be interviewed and considered for whatever benefit, whatever loan they require.
In addition, he announced that the SLB was expanding its Parent Plus salary deduction-based loan by extending the repayment period from 36 to 60 months. Those loans will be repaid at an interest rate of 9% on the reducing balance. The SLB has also approved applications totaling $150 million in non-guaranteed loans, and there is now a window for those who can't find a guarantor to apply. Prime Minister Portia Simpson-Miller is cautioning students against using the tablet computers provided to them by the government to post things on social media sites. Mrs. Simpson-Miller was addressing a distribution exercise at the Haile Selassie High School on Monday.
I want to warn the children against posting things on YouTube. These tablets are for educational purposes, nothing else. And I'm going to warn the parents to monitor your children.
The Prime Minister said with the tablets in hand, students had the opportunity to improve their schoolwork. Haile Selassie is the third institution to be issued with tablet computers under the government's $1.4 billion Tablets in Schools pilot program. And finally, the Jamaica Promotions Corporation, JAMPRO, is taking steps to develop a database of practitioners in the film and creative industries to better meet their needs. JAMPRO is hosting an open day to sign up these persons on Wednesday at its New Kingston offices. Film Commissioner and Creative Industries Manager at JAMPRO, Carol Beckford, says this is part of the preparation for Jamaica's Film Festival, which will be hosted in July 2015.
We're encouraging people that there's a lot of business externally. I think, not to leave out anybody, we have the greatest music cultural association anybody could ask for, and our fashion is growing. Dance is extremely popular, and we have just released some information on theatre that we think is also very critical. So we're trying to combine all those elements to put together for the creative industries.
In the meantime, JAMPRO is partnering with Jamaican international actor Paul Campbell, who will be in the island October 13 to 17. Mr. Campbell will select 12 young people to work with on script production, editing and film production. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stacey Ann Smith. Thank you for watching.
We want a productive Jamaica. We are not productive Jamaicans. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity is the way to go for all us Jamaicans. Small business, big business, old and young, we are tell every woman and man. We want growth and prosperity for a better nation with a building plan. So we can build our product and sell our product and put more money in our hand. Our economy can rise to a level and build a better nation. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity to move forward on this land. Productivity, that's the way to go, we should understand. Productivity.
Productivity, Pathway to Prosperity. A message brought to you by the Jamaica Productivity Center, a department of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Be an active participant in your child's life. Spend time with your child. No phones, no television, no distractions. Just the two of you.
Just the two of us.
Get to know your child through play. Why not go to the park and get on the monkey bars? Sharing a meal can also be a time of bonding. If your child's in school, be involved in school activities. Speak with your child's teacher. Follow up on their progress in school and see how you can help. Assist them with homework. Attend parent-teacher meetings and support school fundraising events. Remember, your child's future is in your hands. Safeguard it.
So glad you are a child of mine.
The Portia Simpson-Miller administration is serious about job creation. So various tools are being used to put more people to work. One such tool is labor market reform. Listen now as Labor Minister Derek Kellier explains what's being done and the benefits for the country.
The government has recognized that productivity is essential to Jamaica's prosperity, and for that reason, the Jamaica Productivity Center and other stakeholders are implementing strategies to increase the output per worker so that the economy can continue to expand.
All 7 days of the week should be considered as possible normal working days, and that overtime should be earned after the worker has completed 40 hours.
Businesses are, however, reminded that flexible work arrangements are not mandatory.
We are saying that the new piece of legislation will be so structured so as to give employers the option to examine their establishments to determine whether flexible work arrangements will be beneficial to the organization.
4 other pieces of legislation will also be amended. And the Labour Market Reform Commission is also being proposed.
This Labour Market Reform Commission, Mr. Speaker, will be tasked with conducting consultations with the relevant stakeholders relating to education and training, technology and innovation, labour policies and legislation, social protection, industrial relations and productivity.
The major findings and recommendations from the consultations will formulate future legislative amendments and influence different policies and programs. The Ministry of Labour is also pursuing other initiatives to increase employment levels. 450 new jobs are expected from the National Insurance Fund's investment in a cement plant. With a value of $67.5 billion as at March 2014, the fund is lending money to the Development Bank of Jamaica (DBJ) for on-lending to small and medium-sized entities. This is being done through a $1.5 billion loan program.
The fund will go further in the 2014-15 financial year and target 3 entities and groups where the need for financing remains largely underserved, namely the creative industries, persons with disabilities, and the youth.
The long-standing farm work program in Canada and the United States will also continue. The Jamaica Employ program will also be expanded, following the revamping of the electronic labor exchange platform to match highly skilled and professional job seekers with prospective employees. A number of steps are also being undertaken to ensure that vulnerable persons are part of the Labour Market Reform Program. $67 million in grant funding has also been provided by the World Bank's Japanese Development Fund to prepare persons with disabilities for the labor market. The Inter-American Development Bank will also provide $15 million in grant funding to strengthen the capacity of the Jamaica Council of Persons with Disabilities. 300 disabled persons in the 18 to 36 age group are also set to benefit from skills development training. Initiatives are also underway to ensure that adults from poor families move from welfare assistance to self-reliance. Over the next 2 years, the $600 million Welfare to Work program will provide training and employment opportunities for 2,000 individuals. The short-term poverty intervention project will also continue following a $75 million allocation in the budget. 6,000 persons will be able to improve their eating habits and housing conditions and start small income-generating projects.
The government of Jamaica and the Most Honorable Prime Minister has insisted that another $75 million be made available in this year's budget to assist an additional 6,000 persons.
An additional $139 million has also been budgeted to assist about 7,000 families to improve their living conditions. The Ministry of Labour and Social Security promoting labour market reform to boost productivity, a gateway to economic prosperity.
Longing for flexible work hours? Well, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security is ready to give you just that through its new FlexiTime arrangement. This means both you and your employer can arrange the traditional 40-hour work week in a way that best suits your needs and that of the organization to which you are employed. So expect a shorter work week, more family or business time, more jobs through part-time work opportunities, reduced traffic during peak hours, improved customer service due to varied opening hours, reduced absenteeism, and much more. So come on, balance work, balance life with FlexiTime.
As government stays on top of the labor market reform process, it continues to pilot a new law that will introduce flexi-work arrangements in Jamaica. The administration achieved a major milestone last Tuesday when the bill was passed in the House of Representatives. Get the facts now on this new legislation and how it will affect you.
On March 25, 2014, the Employment Flexible Work Arrangements Miscellaneous Provisions Act was tabled in Parliament. It sets out to amend provisions relating to hours and days of work in several pieces of legislation to facilitate the implementation of flexible working arrangements in Jamaica. The end goal? To position the country's labor market to take advantage of investments and other economic opportunities. Flexi work is an alternate arrangement or schedule from the traditional Monday to Friday 9 to 5 working day or week. In principle, it allows individual employees and employers more room to choose when they start and end the workday or even which day of the week to work.
So it could be that a person could be starting at 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock, or it could be that the hours you work could be 8, it could be 10, it could be 12. Days of the week would no longer have to be just Monday to Friday. You could choose.
But does this mean that everyone will be on a flexi work system once the law is changed?
Flexible work arrangement is not for everybody, and we must emphasize that. So it's not going to be that every company will implement flexible work arrangements. Every company has to assess whether this will work in my particular organization, having regard to what I actually do as a business.
Since flexi work will not suit every organization, you might ask, what if I want to work flexible days and hours and the company I work for is not implementing it?
Well, flexible work arrangements, it's all about negotiation. The employer cannot force the worker to implement flexi work and to work flexi hours. The worker cannot force the employer to implement flexi work. It has to be discussion and agreement between the parties.
And what of those who would seek to implement it without negotiation?
If you choose to vary that contract, the worker can institute proceedings for breach of contract. And the same goes for the employer too if the worker tries to vary it without the agreement. Because right now, persons are under existing contracts of employment, which sets out their terms and their days of rest.
When the bill is passed, the Ministry of Labour will be monitoring all complaints, so persons who find themselves in this situation should report the matter to the Ministry's Pay and Conditions of Employment branch, and there is an office in each parish. Over 20 pieces of legislation are to be amended to facilitate the implementation of flexible work arrangements. The amendments will specify that the work week should consist of 40 hours and that overtime is to be computed after the employee has completed 40 hours of work. That means for those opting for Flexi Week, overtime will not begin after an 8-hour workday, but only when you have worked beyond your 40-hour work week. The bill will also increase the number of hours in a workday from 8 or 10 hours to a maximum of 12 hours, reflect that all 7 days of the week should be considered as possible working days, and make it lawful for women to work at night.
Well, the organization would now not be restricted in opening hours. They'd have more freedom to choose the opening hours that would best suit their needs, so they can increase their productivity and also their profits. The individual will be able to more balance work life with family life, could choose the work arrangements which would best actually mesh with their family obligations, like picking up children. And also they could earn more because it would allow you to choose to work for different people to actually get more money. For the nation, of course, if the businesses are actually producing more, individuals are actually earning more, employment has increased, and it would spell well for the nation.
Persons can choose from a range of flexi work options. One option allows for working part-time hours and still earning benefits such as vacation and sick leave. Flexible time allows individuals and businesses to vary the start and end time of each workday. Persons can also telecommute, essentially working from a location other than the office, such as your home. And then there is the compressed work week. This is where you work your 40 hours over a 3 to 4 day period. But be careful not to fall below the threshold of 110 days worked to qualify for vacation leave entitlement.
A person who works for 3 days would have only worked for 156 days in the year. So they would still get vacation leave because they've passed the threshold of 110. But under the holidays with pay order, to obtain vacation leave of 2 weeks, you have to work under the statute for 220 days. So that gets you closer to somebody who works for 4 days for the week, for example.
And since all 7 days will be regarded as work days, what will pertain to working on public holidays?
The flexi work arrangements bill will not change any provisions we public general holidays and the payment of overtime to those workers. Persons under minimum wage will still be entitled to double time for working on holidays, and persons who work in shops. Other persons who are not minimum wage earners who don't work in shops, your contract will still govern how you are paid overtime, because that was always the case.
We are not about taking away people's rights. We are about trying to ensure that we organize work in such a way that Jamaica can be competitive.
And what we need to do is to ensure that we don't delay any further, so we can take full advantage of the opportunities being offered to us for growth, development, and prosperity.
So there is nothing to prevent any company today from looking at their operations, looking at their markets, and making a determination as to what is the best production fit for their business.
In the meantime, the Ministry of Labour and Social Security continues to invite national input with public forums and education campaigns.
Jamaicans from all walks of life. We must save energy and help the Jamaican economy. Energy saving, we say. Today. Hey. Ease up on the energy, up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow. Ease up on the energy, up on the energy. Save today, protect tomorrow. Energy saving is not a maybe, it's a must.
Many Jamaicans are already accustomed to working outside of regular work hours. Think healthcare workers, security personnel, media people, and those in the tourism and service sectors. But what if other sectors could open up to extended work hours? That would mean more jobs for more people. Think about it. There would definitely be an impact on the country's productivity. What do you think?
Employers and workers can now come together and arrange times convenient to them for the work to be done.
Our hotel industries have to run 24/7. In that persons must be taken care of morning, noon, night, Saturday, Sunday, public holidays. So the world is one place now. And if we cannot move along with the times, then we are going to be left behind.
I must applaud the minister for bringing this legislation to the table. It's about time, I would say. I really believe that this will be good for Jamaica in terms of cost efficiency, labor productivity.
The new school year has begun, and it is our duty to ensure that each child is safe. So here are a few reminders. If the child has to travel to school and from home on his or her own, road safety lessons are a must, like establishing a safe route and encouraging them to walk in groups. Teach them how to use the pedestrian crossing, how to walk carefully, and to not play in the road. It's also important to teach them not to take rides from strangers under any circumstances. As for smaller kids, emergency information should be written inside the child's bag or in a book. This should include contact numbers, address, and other critical information, such as allergies the child may have or any other specific illness. Let's help to keep our children safe with the information they need to know.
The logistics hub is not a physical space, it's a concept.
And that is one of the most important facts to know about government's proposed logistics hub for Jamaica. It's not about any single space, but rather the relationship among a range of goods and service providers and the infrastructure connecting them. Fact is, it's the interconnectivity among various industries that will transform the country into the fourth major node in the global logistics chain. So what of the Goat Islands, that area located in the Portland Bight protected area?
Goat Island, if it happens, is not the logistic hub. It will be an important element of the logistics hub.
China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, is proposing to establish a transshipment port on parts of the island.
But for that decision to be made, that's a whole of country decision, not just a cabinet.
In fact, it will take a national effort to transform Jamaica into a global logistics hub. But government has to take the lead on implementing certain critical elements. Our road network must be linked and upgraded to accommodate easy travel of goods and people across the country. The port should be expanded to allow access to the biggest ships, and holding areas will be needed for dry goods such as cereals, wheat and grains, which will be offloaded in Jamaica to be shipped to other countries. If we examine the operations of the other three superpowers in the global logistics chain, Singapore, Rotterdam and Dubai, it's clear we must also establish special economic zones. These countries have provided employment for thousands of their citizens through this venture, and the Jamaican government is looking to emulate their success.
These special economic zones will cluster large transnational companies engaged in a variety of logistics activities, warehousing and manufacturing logistics that add value to semi-finished or intermediate goods that are destined for global markets. As many as 16 SEZs are contemplated to be spread across the country, connected with each other, linked with the port community system, and connected to the world. We see the SEZs as facilitating new and innovative commercial ventures for the MSME sector, opening up significant opportunities for job creation and allowing our firms to link into global trading platforms.
A few other facts to consider. The Jamaica Logistics Hub seeks to take advantage of the imminent widening of the Panama Canal, scheduled for practical completion in April 2016. 90% of the world's trade is done by ships, and the expanded canal will bring more and larger ships through the region. The Jamaica Logistics Hub has the potential to catalyze several export-driven manufacturing and service industries. A website has been mounted to provide information about the Logistics Hub initiative. To find out more, click on jamaicalogisticshub.com.
As the country seeks to become a more productive and prosperous nation, each of us has to play a role. Join the effort by maximizing your time, whether at school or on the job. Be punctual, adopt a business-like approach, and resist the temptation to murmur and complain. That's my final charge to you today as we close the pages of Jamaica Magazine. Let us know your thoughts on the subject. Send an email, a tweet, or post your comments on our Facebook page. Take a second look at our programs online. Our website, jis.gov.jm, is just a click away. On behalf of the production team here at the JIS, I'm Arroya Eubanks. Take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.